As the granddaughter of Britain's Queen Victoria, she possessed the royal pedigree, cultivated intellect, and passionate personality that Nicholas required in a potential mate. Most important, where Nicholas was uncertain, Alexandra was resolved. Show your own mind, she urged her fiancé, and don't let others forget who you are. Within a week of laying Alexander III to rest, Nicholas and Alexandra were married. When the official year of mourning was over in 1895, Nicholas continued the tradition established by his father of presenting a Faberge Easter egg to the Tsarina. The first one he gave to Alexandra was the imperial rosebud egg. The red enameled shell is decorated with gold wreaths and diamond ribbons and arrows. The egg takes its name from the surprise inside, a rosebud, enameled in a matte finish to give it a more natural appearance. It symbolizes not only the rebirth of Romanov rule with a new Tsar in power, but also the love blooming between the newlyweds. A love Alexandra expressed to Nicholas with her own verse. May love and peace and blessing without end, she wrote, wreath all your path with flowers, O my friend. And if a thorn should touch you where they grow, believe indeed I would not have it so. The rosebud egg also symbolized the budding relationship between Nicholas and Faberge. Theirs would be a creative and prolific arrangement unlike any between a jeweler and his patron. With the ascendance of Nicholas II to the throne, Faberge gained the patron with whom he would be most closely associated. The new Tsar's reign was destined to be filled with the kind of drama and tragedy that would endow the Faberge eggs with an aura of mystery and myth unlike any treasures in history. If social change is a catalyst for artistic breakthroughs, then Faberge produced his best work during Nicholas's turbulent time on the throne, beginning with his coronation in May 1896.
The coronation was a very big event. It's a very big event for us in America when we inaugurate a president, and we do that every 4 years. In Russia, you had a coronation only when one monarch died and his heir, or her heir, came in, so it was much less frequent and, in a sense, much more important.
As Tsar, 28-year-old Nicholas had more power than any head of state in the world. An autocrat, his word was law in an empire covering 1/6 the Earth's land surface. Beyond being a political figure, he was considered God's representative and saw himself as the savior of his people. Fittingly, his coronation in the Kremlin was an awe-inspiring ceremony. The religious service in which he was crowned lasted 5 hours. When it was over, 101 guns fired in salute. Mobs parted like the sea for the procession. If you could imagine the most magnificent pageant you have ever seen put on the stage, reported one observer, coupled with the most gorgeous religious ceremony, then that will give you an idea of Nicholas's coronation. To honor this event, Faberge created his most lavish Easter egg up to that time, the coronation egg, presented in 1897. Only 5 inches tall, the egg's gold shell is machine engraved with sunburst patterns and covered with a sharp yellow enamel. So much caution was taken in the making of this egg that the holes to secure the pegs for the lattice work were drilled underwater so that the heat from the drill bit would not crack the enamel. Though the shell is considered the epitome of the goldsmith's art, the surprise inside makes the egg truly memorable. An exact replica, less than 4 inches long, of the coach Nicholas and Alexandra rode on Coronation Day. It took its creator, George Stein, a master carriage maker, 15 months to complete. The frame is made of gold, the body red enamel. The windows are etched rock crystal. The hinged doors open. The wheels rotate and even make turns.
When they restored the coach itself, they were able to refer to the egg because all the detailing is so exact that they knew exactly what was missing in terms of the steps that fold out, the way the door handles work. I mean, it's an extraordinary job of the goldsmith's craft.
In spite of the egg's remarkable craftsmanship and the coronation's pomp and circumstance, the social upheaval that eventually led to Nicholas's downfall began to erupt within days of his enthronement. 1,400 people waiting to toast the new Tsar were trampled to death when crowds became unruly at a field outside Moscow. In the wake of the tragedy, Nicholas was sharply criticized for allowing the celebrations to continue. Most of the dead were peasants and factory workers, the people on whose sweat the nation's burgeoning economic growth depended. This growth was part of the great changes taking place in Russian society that began under Nicholas's father, Alexander III. During his reign, the nation experienced an unprecedented rise in industry. To spur this economic boom, he initiated a massive rail building program. It was Nicholas's wish to realize his father's vision. In 1900, after 9 years of construction, the Trans-Siberian Railway, the most ambitious of these lines, opened. This engineering marvel ushered in a new era in travel and communication. Nicholas commissioned Faberge to create an egg whose novelty was commensurate with this grand achievement. The Imperial Trans-Siberian Railway egg is the result. The green enamel shell's main feature is a wide silver band inscribed with the legend Great Siberian Railway 1900 and a map tracing the 4,000-mile route from Moscow to Vladivostok. The surprise is a foot-long miniature train, authentically detailed, made of gold and platinum. The engine's headlamps are set with diamonds, the brake lights rubies. The 5 coaches have inscriptions reading, "For smokers and ladies only." The last car represents the Imperial Chapel. When wound with a golden key, the train runs on its wheels. The Trans-Siberian Railway egg is a unique tribute to Russia's industrial might and rising fortunes at the turn of the century. Faberge's own operation reflected this prosperity.
Faberge produced an art form that was very Russian, that showed the gems, the minerals, the wealth of Russia, and appealed to the Tsar. And because he appealed to the Tsar, he was popular.
As a result, Faberge saw his company grow from a small family business to one of the most successful private enterprises in Russia. He owned 4 stores, 3 in Russia and 1 in London, employed 500 craftsmen, and produced over 120,000 unique pieces of jewelry. Many of them, including these miniature Easter eggs, were sold through a booming catalog business. It was his promise of novelty that kept Faberge's customers loyal, sometimes to a humorous extent.
There's a wonderful story of a woman who comes into the shop and wants to know what he's producing new for Easter this year. And he says that he's going to make a square egg. And much to the amusement of the people in the shop and who try to keep a straight face while this woman goes out. And lo and behold, she comes back the next week wanting to see this square egg. And he has to confess, well, we had a little problem with it. It didn't quite work.